phone.
Hmm?
I said, I can't see my phone. Leave meeting.
Don't leave meeting.
Okay. No, got it. I got this message.
All right.
Oh,
We are live on YouTube. My name is Tim Robertson. I'm the outreach coordinator for the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. I want to welcome everybody to today's live stream event. And with me, I have Pam Shivak. I'm in Southern California, and Pam's over in South Florida.
Southwest Florida, on the Gulf in Cape Coral.
Okay. And her husband, Randy, is setting up his telescope so we can do some live solar imaging this morning as well. So welcome, everybody. Just want to remind you that if your first time here on our YouTube channel, please subscribe. We're going to be doing more of these live events and also do some training and things like that as well on the YouTube channel. So please subscribe. Introduce Pam.
Okay. Hi, everyone. First of all, happy Father's Day to everyone. And welcome to International Sunday. So International Sunday is basically a day set aside to celebrate the life-giving star and all things solar, the solstice, solar imaging, solar pictures, anything to do with the sun. I'm down here in Southwest Florida, Cape Coral, and my dear sweet husband is in his duck blind. Let me see if I can turn this around. As you know, duck blinds are waterproof and they don't breathe.
They don't breathe. So he's suffering in the Florida heat and humidity today. He's taking one for the team.
Right. All right, there we go. So there he is.
Your finger's in the way.
Oh, okay, sorry. So anyway, back to International Sunday. International Sunday was kind of my brainchild when I was desperate to have a solar star party. Because I saw all these other star parties all across the country. And so I'm like, well, why don't we use the power of the internet and do virtual? So I started International Sunday with the help of Stephen Ramsden and the Charlie Bates Solar Astronomy Project. We launched that in 2014, and it took off like wildfire. We had like 30 countries, 2,000 participants from all over the world. So the legacy lives on with the independent International Sunday Facebook page in association with our Solar Activity Facebook group. So there's that. I used to try to have it on different days to accommodate different people, because like right now in Southwest Florida, it's like 2,000 degrees, 5,000% humidity. My poor husband's dying in there. And, you know, other places around the world, it's their monsoon season, it's hurricane season here. So we are lucky today, where's the sun, to have partial sun. And let me see if I could switch back. Oh,
there
you see me? Oh, yep. Okay. So, we still have the Facebook page and the ALPO group. The solar section is helping with propagate solar astronomy. Tim Robertson here, our director of the Observer's Notebook, he helps with live podcasts. So anyway, let's get back to Randy here and see what he can show us. Later on, he'll be doing a live broadcast from his computer. But right here is well, as you can see, the scope is almost vertical because the sun is straight up.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Leviathan.
Talk a little bit about the telescope.
Okay, yeah, this is Leviathan. It's a 9-inch refractor that Randy Shivak built. It's 9 inches, and that's why, like, when we get to outreach, because we can't have people lying on the ground looking at stars or the sun, but he's really happy with it. It's how it works. Oh, there's his hand. So what are you doing now, Randall?
Give it a little focus there.
Okay, so
Come around here for a quick peek before it goes away.
okay, okay, I'll do a quick peek inside the duck blind here of his screen before the sun goes into the clouds.
Close it if you can.
Okay, how's this? So there's a big sunspot. What else about that?
Yeah, you can see the associated plage area around it, and you can see our clouds coming and going. There's some nice filaments. There's a filament right there, and there's another large one off to the side here. Find it.
So later on, when he's live and can show you his screen, he'll do a trip around the limb of the sun to show any prominences. What are we seeing now?
Yeah, back on this.
Okay, so here, close this back up. So a little bit more about.
And he's using, just to clarify for people that are watching, the duck blind is used to eliminate the sunlight, so he can actually see his computer screen.
Exactly, yeah. Right. So on the bottom here, we have a Daystar quantum PE hydrogen alpha filter, 0.5 angstrom. What you see wrapped in this washcloth here is a ZWO camera. What's it, the 174?
174, yeah.
174, not cooled. So it was, the temperature was, he could see on his computer, the temperature was getting up there. So I had to wrap a rag around it. This is a handy dandy thing we've got here too. It's a sprinkler hose thing that we use to put our extension cord on. Yeah. Another thing that is really an asset to us and to other people that don't have an observatory is this JMI. I call it a wheelie dealer. I don't know what it really is, but he keeps the scope mounted on there. We roll it when he's done. We roll it into the garage. We don't have to take anything off. Some power cords in the camera, but anyway, this is a good investment. This wheelie dealie from JMI. Another thing that's super awesome is this Lunt Superlander, which is great for outreach because with a remote control, he can make it go up and down. So it's pretty fancy. I don't know if you know about that. He's pretty happy with that. We got that at NEAF a couple of years ago. The mount is an Astrophysics 1200. That's all I know about that. What else? We have a 6-inch Astrophysics telescope too. We just didn't change it out. I guess if we would have thought about it, we would have put the 6-inch on here, so he could do a meridian flip after the sun gets in a different location, but we didn't think about it, and it's a lot of work taking the 9-inch off, so we didn't.
Okay.
Yep. So let's see what else here. This is our battery that we hooked up to this inverter for extra power to make the mount go up and down, or the tripod go up and down, and for his fan. Are you on anything good in there?
Yeah, we're back on that sunspot.
Okay, back in the sunspot. All right, so I'm gonna let Randy get on, join the meeting, and I will be, where am I? Tell me when you see me.
You're there.
Oh, okay, hello. So I will be back in a minute, and let Randy join the meeting here. And the sky is the most we can hope for during this hurricane season. Officially started June 1st. Yeah, so 3 o'clock every day we can expect severe thunderstorms, and then it'll clear up and start all over again the next day.
Okay.
So I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. Well. All right, everybody. Once again, my name is Tim Robertson. Thank you for joining us on International Sunday. This is a live stream event through the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. And now we have Randy joining us from his duck blind. Hey, Randy. And I think Pam's coming back now too.
Working on it.
Okay. Can you hear us, Randy? There you are.
Hello?
Hey there. Thanks for dealing with the heat today and humidity in your duck blind. You're frozen there on the screen. All right, as we deal with this, I want to remind everybody once again that please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to be doing a lot of different events on this and in the coming months. So please subscribe. We have about 8 people watching currently, and Pam is back.
Hello.
Hey.
I feel guilty. I'm inside in air conditioning, but oh well.
Yeah, so am I. That's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we want to do Randy now.
Yeah, he came on, but his image was frozen, so I guess he's trying to get back on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, let me share some things here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back on.
Okay, there you are, Randy.
Oh. Okay, well, hold on a second.
Okay.
Let me give some shout outs here to the you can see the ALPO screen here.
Yep. That's our
Okay.
the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers website. You can see the URL up there, alpo-astronomy.org.
Right. So over here to the left is our solar section along with the other sections. Shout out to Mr. Rick Hill, who's the solar section coordinator. So people can go to the ALPO website and post their pictures, and also see other things that there is to see. On this, the ALPO journal, which is just full of stuff. And shout out also to Kim Hayes, and who does some reporting on the on solar activities. So I encourage people to check out the ALPO Facebook page and a website and Facebook page, and see what there is to see there. So okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing that and let Randall do his thing for a little while.
Okay. So now you're gonna live stream the images through your telescope, Randy, and talk about what we're seeing. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we might not have enough, because I don't think we have enough bandwidth to have all.
I think that's not working.
We did a test run yesterday and it seemed to be working
Everybody
fine.
on
So.
here.
All right.
All right, here's what we have now. Yeah, Pam, you might have to leave the meeting for a bit.
Ah,
No, I'm not leaving my own meeting.
I'll leave.
No.
Well, that's fantastic.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because I think we don't have fine.
We can see the sunspot.
Yeah, the associated plage area around it. I could try to go to, okay, there's a really nice filament right. And I know we call a filament and a prominence right up here at the edge. Let's see if I can find it. Ah, here it is. Okay, now we'll do a little magic on this and increase brightness a little bit and see if we can't actually bring the prominence out also.
Oh, I see it.
Well, hold on.
I think.
Yeah. I probably have to take off, yeah, a little trip around around the edge here. I know on the southeast side here, I saw on the gong, we had some really nice ones. What I'm going to do is take off the, here we go. I'm going to take off the flap field here, and it will get rid of some of that junk.
Okay. Now this is hydrogen alpha light, right?
There we go. So this is the one yes, hydrogen alpha on the southeast. So on the southeast limb here, got that one and this one here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now
Yeah.
in smaller instruments, you know, you would look at these and they would be pretty small. We can do some nifty things, and I'm going to zoom in. This is just 100% right there. So.
Oh yeah, tell them about your TZ forest system.
As you can see, this is. Yeah, the TZ is the Bader system for the. Instead of using like a Barlow lens, Bader has made a lens system they call the T, makes the light parallel to the etalon, which you need that. So I'm just going to try to focus a little bit here. Easy system in basically 2x, 3x, and 4x. So depending on the F ratio of your telescope system, most telescopes, those three different TZ systems will get you near an F30. The manufacturer recommends you be at an F30, but I have taken some really nice as small as F16. So it's not really necessary that you be at F30, especially on prominences. If you're dealing with being on the disc the chromospheric network, yeah, it's a little more crucial. But the prominence itself, okay, I'm going to focus here. The prominence itself has a pretty wide pass band. So you can go wider, and that will give you a brighter image also. On here, get back. Get back to these ones on the southeast here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, if the sky conditions don't permit, I'm going to back it back down to 73% right there. That'll give us a little more contrast. And of course, I wouldn't take an image like this where I added a lot of gamma, as you can see here. I got 100% gamma. I would cut that back because you would increase your contrast. See, there we go. Cut that back some.
Okay.
And that'll make for a nicer image. See how I cut the gamma back
Mm-hmm.
to give you to darken the sky, and I'll give you more contrast. So there's a lot of things that you can do, and then of course this is just gathering the frames for the capture, and then once you get into, there we go. See, that looks much better.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get into their manipulate,
So if you wanted to take a solar image of that, you would press the camera button. It's a video camera, and then tell us how many frames per
Right.
second frames that would take, and then you would put that
okay,
you put that video into a stacking program, and from there manipulate it in Photoshop and colorize it if you want, and then post it to ALPO Solar Section and
Mhm.
Solar Activity. Oh, that's a plug for our solar.
So right
activity
now you
page.
can see the image. You can see the image going in and out right now. It's completely dark. We have cloud.
Okay, Randall, why don't you shut down and join us in here?
Seen over us on the RAM, and you can see that hit back on the disk at least one more time and say goodbye to our sunspot group here, if it's going to come back out.
Yeah, the clouds, that's one thing you got to deal with. Well, I knew once we started the live stream, the clouds would come
this
over.
Is our this is our cloudy season. In the wintertime, it's really nice down here. So we have basically it's about reversed for most people in the country. Our wintertime is our dry season. So we have a lot of high pressure that comes over, and our seeing is very good. In the summer, there we go. The summer is our worst time.
Yeah, that's the sun just dipping in and out of the clouds, right?
For the northern.
Okay, we're waiting for rain
Yeah,
to come.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Okay. I think Pam is outside corralling Randy. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
the weather does not cooperate
I'm in the
all
driveway
the
now.
time. Okay, there's our sunspot. Yeah, I was looking at the sun yesterday
there
through
we go.
my telescope. I think
All
this
right,
is the only sunspot on the sun right now, isn't it?
right. Here I am.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay, so
Okay.
shut down and come back in and join the meeting from
Okay.
inside.
All righty. We'll see you later. I'm going to shut this computer down out here, and we'll join the meeting.
Oh, there you
inside.
go. That's the best image right there. Great. Yeah, we have more information to give you too, so please hang on. Stay with us through the duration of this event. Okay, great. All right. Once again, my name is Tim Robertson with the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers, and I want to thank everybody for logging in and watching this live stream event today. First we've ever done, so obviously there are technical issues we're dealing with, but thanks for showing up and really enjoy it.
Okay, so I'm back.
Okay.
I've got some other things to show you. Let's see, how do I do that? Okay, I want to, we found out that we have serious feedback issues when we're in the same room. Okay, so I want to share this. So something that I came across that was kind of fun. It's these, on the NASA site, they came out with these sun science stamps, which shows a decade of stamps with images from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. So how do I move these people out of the way? So you all can see the screen, right?
Yep.
Okay. Can I play this video?
Yeah, you can do it.
All right. Let's see if we can do that.
When you take a picture of the sky, you might see this. An overexposed bright white glare that we know as the sun. In photos, the sun appears white because it emits all the colors we can see at once. Our eyes can only see a narrow range of light, known as the visible spectrum. When they combine together, they make white light. But the sun also emits light that is invisible to the naked eye. These are images from NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory, or SDO. It was launched in 2010 and has been observing the sun from space in a way that our eyes cannot. SDO uses instruments with special filters to see the sun in 10 different wavelengths of light, including many that we can't see with our own eyes. For us to see them, scientists convert SDO's data to colors we can see. The different colors correspond to different temperatures and regions on the sun. This allows us to study how the sun releases material that can travel across the solar system and affect our technology in space and on Earth. These wavelengths show us the sun's upper atmospheric layers at different temperatures. This wavelength highlights filaments and prominences. These wavelengths highlight the corona, the sun's atmosphere that is much hotter than the sun's surface, and shows features like coronal loops and coronal holes. The wavelengths here reveal the sun's active regions, which have intense magnetic activity that sometimes give rise to eruptions. These wavelengths can see the hottest material in a solar flare. Being able to see constant movement of material on the sun and in its atmosphere can help scientists better understand how our sun behaves and how to track storms that might affect our satellites and astronauts in space or communications on Earth.
So, so one reason that International Sunday is so cool, because as the youth program, ALPO Youth Program Coordinator, it's my job to encourage people to do astronomy, STEM, outreach, but since my husband's a solar astronomer, you know, we've been married 48 years. We were doing this in high school. Of course, hone in on solar. So when people do set up solar scopes, like not just on International Sunday, but if it can become a part of Astronomy Club's monthly program to have a solar outreach event with their members, and most all members of astronomy clubs have some kind of solar scope or filter or whatever. So anyway, I encourage people to do solar, because as you could see, just concentrating on the wavelengths, the different cameras on the Solar Dynamics Observatory, there's a whole lot to study there. And then if you just want to study each of these wavelengths, or just study the corona, or just study prominences or flares, and so there's a lot of things to study about the sun, and the different satellites. Randy and I went and watched the launch of the Parker Solar Probe and the Solar Orbiter, and those are missions that actually went to the sun, and they're doing flybys of Venus to get the trajectory to go to the sun, and studying the corona. And so those are super exciting missions. So I could definitely go and buy these stamps. I bought some of the stamps. You could buy these online. Let's see if there's a link. Oh, there's a corona hole. So there might be a link somewhere. Corona loops, solar flares. So one thing when we do solar outreach is we ask people to come and look through our scope, the hydrogen alpha filter. You're not going to burn your eyes out. They're like, oh yeah, we want to see this. We want to see the solar flares. Well, they can only see a solar flare if it happens to be happening at that moment. What they're maybe talking about were just prominences. So I was actually thinking of contacting somebody at NASA to rename prominences solar flares, but that probably wouldn't go over so well. But anyway, solar flares are exciting when they're happening, and they have happened when we've been showing people live images of the sun. Like, see this bright area there? Those are solar flares, and they're usually associated with these sunspots, because they reconnecting the energy underneath, and they just erupt into energy. So here's a picture of the active sun.
Now, do you have some photographs of Randy's that we could share?
We do. Randy, do you want to share your solar pictures?
Yes. Let me see if I can do this.
You gotta stop sharing your screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Here's some pictures that I've taken with my various solar telescopes over the years. This happens to be one of the largest sunspots of cycle 24, the last solar cycle. This was taken in October of 2014. And I like to take the images in black and white also, mainly because you don't have to manipulate them so much in Photoshop. Our eyes are used to seeing in color, and so people like to see images in color, but I like to do them in black and white also, because you can get actually a much finer detail in a black and white image. So many of the images that I do, most of them are actually in black and white.
Now, you mentioned solar cycle 24. That's when you took this. How long is the solar cycle?
Yes. The solar cycle, will last 10, 11 years. But now
it only gets a lot of attention for about 2 or 3 of those 11 years. Okay, because that's when the maximum is occurring. Usually the maximum we will last around 2 years.
Okay, and we just recently went into cycle 25, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. So that cycle 25 now will last, anywhere between 8 and 11 years.
Okay.
And those cycles are determined from the polarity of the sunspots, what we call the leading, that would be this spot here, and the follower spot, this one here. And when those polarities flip, let's say in cycle 25, the leading spot is a plus and the following spot is minus. The next sunspot cycle 26, it will flip, and this leading spot will then be negative and the following one positive. That's how we are sure to know when the polarities flip that is then a new sunspot cycle.
Okay.
Once again, a lot of granulation. I find it a real challenge to be able to take images like these. You need high magnification, you need large aperture, and you need steady seeing. You need all 3 of those things to come together in order to get images like this. And I find it fascinating to be able to do that. This is a hydrogen alpha image here. One of the things I like to do is not over sharpen the image. Everything on the sun, remember, is a gas form. Of course, we're 93 million miles away. And so you don't see it as blurry. You will see things sharper. But remember, these objects aren't made out of steel or a structure. They are actually a gaseous form, as you have here. And so, some people tend to over sharpen these too much. And I think that actually takes away from the beauty and the smoke-like essence of these features.
That's beautiful.
And I know, I'm speaking from experience when I tell the audience, because that was the first thing I did. When you get into sharpening, it's like, oh man, let's make this sharp. But since then, I have backed off on that and give it a little softer touch.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Great detail.
Thank you. Here you can see the filament right here, large filament, and associated sunspot group. Here you can see the other bipolar sunspot groups. And most sunspot groups, they usually form in a plus and a minus. You usually have 2 of them. Now this one, I like to do this. This is taken what we call off band. In other words, it's still 0.5 angstroms pass band, the width of the band that you're looking in, but you've actually shifted that band either plus or minus, generally a half angstrom, generally anywhere between a half and 0.8 angstroms. And what you're doing there is actually allowing you to see in a slightly higher or slightly lower than in the core of the H alpha, and this is called the wings. So mostly I would observe in the blue wing, which would be shifted to the minus side of H alpha. And you see different features. These features right here, these are actually spicules. Okay, spicules, we don't see them unless they're at the edge of the sun, and I will show you some. Spicules are very difficult to capture on the edge because they're pretty small and require, once again, high magnification and steady atmosphere. So it's always a challenge to be able to see details like that. Here you can see what we call Ellerman bombs, these very tiny white points of light around the sunspots. These are particular features. So these are things that you want to see if you can, as I like to say, catch when I go fishing for different types of. This is a great image here of an off band associated with generally the Ellerman bombs will ring around the penumbra, as you could see here, and then in between, all through here, these bright points of light. Here's another off band, and you can see here these streaks, the dark streaks. These are what we would call surge filaments. So they have velocities associated with them that being off band like this, that you can see differently than if you were on band. And this movement becomes very apparent once you get off band like this. So once again, these are things that that I enjoy doing, because a lot of people never get to see the detail like this. Now this is an on band image here. You can see these long, like feather-like, these are called fibrils, these areas here, all around, generally around the sunspots. Different from filaments. These are filaments. The prominence were at the edge of the sun. You would see these filaments as prominences. Of course, not flares. I would show you. Well, flare, here's a small flare right here. This one over here. You've got another one here and another one here. I always like to tell people, flares, when you're looking at a flare, flare does only one of two things all the time. It's either getting bigger or it's getting smaller. It never stays the same because it's an explosion.
Right.
So it's either increasing in its magnitude or you've missed it and it's decreasing. It just won't sit there and stay on like a light bulb. It's a transient event. Here we're back to some granulation here. And another spot, sunspot group. And this is when you're on the core, H alpha core, you're right on band. Now this one is off band. Once again, you can see the big difference. Basically, a lot of these, the penumbra is much more visible than in than an on band one here. The penumbra, more detail, more pronounced.
All right, you done with your pictures? Oh, there's some more.
Well, now we have a few more. You need to cut me short here?
No. We still have people watching live. Thank you.
Good. This is the chromospheric network with a really this would be a very bright prominence had it been seen on the limb of the sun, because you can tell how dark it is. Some more sunspot groups. I'll go through these. Now this is off band. Notice the big difference there. Notice the Ellerman bombs all around the sunspots. Usually when I take pictures of the prominences, I like to, through Photoshop, darken the edge. This is what I would call like an occluding disc, because this is all overexposed and there's no detail there. So you really don't want to see it. This is the edge of the chromosphere right here. This is where spicules would normally be viewed. Okay, now to all of our audience, this is a solar flare. The bright area, that's a flare. This is a massive explosion. It's probably a class X flare. They classify them C, B, M, and X. But notice this is unusual because usually the flares really don't get into the umbra like this. This is a really, really X-class flare. Once again, that very, very large
Oh my.
sunspot group.
Well, excuse me, but yeah, from this sunspot that year, weren't there like 8 X-class flares that came out of that year, 2000 what, 15?
2014.
We'll go back to that sunspot. 14. So that, I mean, not only was that gigantic sunspot the size of 10 Earths could fit across there, and it gave
Right.
off like
Yeah,
X-class
so this
flares, one after another. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that was very exciting. This sunspot was the size of Jupiter right here.
Wow.
Now this is an amazing photo here of granulation. Once again, I just love challenging myself. You know, you need like less than 1 arc second kind of scene conditions to get this. And everybody always says, you know, oh, well, if you should use like 60 or 70 millimeter, you know, this was done with 228 millimeters. So I enjoy using large aperture because this is the kind of difference that you get with the large aperture.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised for a solar telescope. You didn't stop it down. You use all 9 inches of the aperture.
Yes, I use all 9 inches, and here's a great image right here showing the light bridge splitting this sunspot right into.
That's great.
Well, and this one is white light, and we used about $5 worth of that solar film on the end of the, was it the 228 there or the 6-inch?
No, this was the 228.
Okay, so yeah, we knew there was this gigantic sunspot, and we made a
Mylar.
white light Mylar filter. What's the density? What was the density
Well,
of
this
that one?
density is 3.8, which normally for visual, Bader makes a 3.8 for photography, and they make a 5.0 for visually. And you don't want to mix them up. If you're going to be using this out at an outreach, then you want to make sure you've got the 5.0. For photography, it's a little bit less dense because you have a lot of control over your camera settings, where you can now take much faster images with the brighter image. So you let a little bit more light through, and thereby lessening your exposure.
Okay.
And so this image, in cooperation with Alan Friedman, was in Discover magazine.
Oh, wow.
And NASA's Picture of the Day, and some other publications. So you don't need thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. You probably need aperture.
Wait. Do you agree with that, Randy? You don't need thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Well, this was white light, so
yeah, but need.
Yeah, but we still had 9 inches of aperture.
He doesn't need the 5 telescopes he has, but
only 5?
Yeah.
Oh, this is an amazing photo. This was this same sunspot group as it started to approach the limb. Notice the huge solar flare right here that's being thrown off. I mean, watching this sunspot group was just absolutely amazing. We had so much fun with this group.
So regarding this picture, I'll go back. Regarding that one, like solar flares are just sudden bursts of energy, usually associated with the sunspots, right?
Right.
Not to be confused with coronal mass ejections, which can come out of the solar flare, but a solar flare is independent of that. It's a sudden burst of energy, where coronal mass ejection spews out the plasma into the universe and into toward, if
Into the
it,
solar
if it comes
system, right.
towards Earth, yeah, then it interferes with our communication satellites and astronauts and
Right.
different things. But I just want to make the distinction that CMEs or coronal mass ejections aren't always associated with, well, are they associated with a flare?
Not always.
Okay.
Most of not always. They they can be independent.
This is interesting.
This is about a day away from being at the edge, maybe 2 days, because it really gets foreshortened as you come to the edge of the sun. But notice the foreshortening here.
Right. Yeah, you got to remember the sun is a globe. So, and as it rotates, because the sun does rotate on its axis, so
Right.
it rotates as we go around it. So you see the sunspots actually travel across
Right.
the face of the sun, and they'll, if they're large enough, they'll come back around on the next
Oh yeah,
rotation.
that big sunspot, it went around a couple times, didn't it?
Right. I think about 3 times.
Yeah. And another thing about those filaments, those dark wavy things that he showed on the disk of the sun, when those filaments hit the edge of the sun, then they're seen as prominences like that. So like a bird's eye view, their filaments, when they go to the edge of the sun, they're seen as prominences.
Yes, same feature, but 2 different names for them, as we can point out once again, seen directly against the disk or silhouetted against the background of the sky like this. Okay,
cool.
here you can see these are filaments, which are prominences. And this this is called plage area here. A lot of this I liken to scarring. This is areas where flares have previously erupted, and it leaves the chromosphere disturbed for many days.
Wow.
There's a very
So
large.
that one time we were set up for a solar outreach when we lived in Arizona, and we were at with our Prescott Valley Astronomy Club, and we were set up at a bluegrass festival, and there were like hundreds of people, and there were the whole line of people waiting for Randy to get his telescope set up, and he was in there, and he saw this huge prominence happening. He's like, wait, I gotta get this picture. I'm like, there's people waiting. He's like, no, I gotta get this image. So that was good. They were there all day. So yeah, that was like another 10-hour day of showing people the sun.
Yeah.
This one, we have a loop here. Loops are very special because it takes a bipolar sunspot. Generally, they're going to be associated with a flare. Here you can see this prominence right here. This is called an active prominence. It's just shooting right off the sun. Within 10 or 15 minutes, this thing will be gone.
Wow.
So the loop prominence is like, instead of the material shooting out, sometimes it's a short distance, sometimes a long distance out into the atmosphere, the loop prominence pulls the material back into the sun. So that's what makes the loop. And Randy kind of caught a image, a couple nice loop prominences.
Nice.
This one we always call the ace of spades.
That's as soon as it came up, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. I just want to mention to our viewers that yes, we are live right now on the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers YouTube channel. We were looking at the sun earlier today live, but the clouds did not cooperate, so we stopped that. And right now we're with Randy Shivak and Pam Shivak, and they're showing us photographs that Randy has taken in the past of the sun. And also, please subscribe. please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just hit that little subscribe button.
Oh, hey, go back, Randall. Was that some of the spicules there?
No, I've got one coming up probably that'll have
But
spicula.
that color on. All right.
There you go.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go. That's these little very wispy little areas, jets of material right at the edge of the sun. That is very difficult to get. Once again, it takes a lot of magnification. You need around 6, 7, 8,000 millimeters of focal length and at least 6 inches of aperture to get a photo like that.
It looks like fuzz along the rim.
Yes.
Well, talk about stopping. Tim mentioned, you know, he asked if you stopped down the 9-inch telescope. Well, you don't, because you can, you know, you can use the whole aperture, but what are the telescopes that have that, what's a type of telescope that has a thing in the middle where you can't use the whole, like our 8-inch?
Yeah, the 8-inch, anytime you're dealing with a catadioptric design, Schmidt-Cassegrains.
You have to offset.
Right. You generally stop those down to 60, 70, 80, 100 millimeters so that you can get off to the side. And there's a few other tricks you have to do with that. You have to also set your filter at an angle because your incoming beam is at an angle. That's why most solar imaging, they deal with refractors, because those are a couple extra things that you don't need to worry about. A little off band here. For our observers, I want to point out that your chromosphere, a lot of people say, oh, I have so much trouble focusing my image. Well, many times, if you have a smaller scope, a lot of times I see that the people don't have enough magnification to really tell if their image is focused. They'll just kind of look at the edge and say, well, is that sharp or not? You know, if you're only dealing with 40 power, it's pretty difficult to tell if that little edge is actually sharp. But when you can actually see details in the sun like this, I would know in an instant if the image was in focus or not. So it's important to have enough magnification that you can tell. And when you're on band, the surface, the chromospheric features will look like, as long as they're not around sunspots, as this one, but it will look like a head of cauliflower, as you can see in this upper corner here. If the surface of the sun is looking like this here, you're on band. You're on band. That's what you want it to look like, is cauliflower. It's a little off band there, and you can go by degrees in off band. You know, you can push it maybe 2/10 off band, like this picture right here. This is probably only about 2 to 3/10 of an angstrom off band. That's an interesting little phenomena going on right here by the sun, like a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lots to learn. Lots to learn.
Yeah, no two sunspots are the same, I tell you that.
Yeah, this was actually a flare going on here, and you could see it even pushed into the umbra, which is unusual. Most flares don't cut into the umbra like that.
Looks like art.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of it does. All right, I want to, oh, that is really nice there. Now that's a flare. And of course you can see the surge filament right here that this is throwing off. And this snake-like appearance here, this is it's almost like when you get the echoes on the radar from when they're talking about the torcons, the tornadoes here on Earth, and you get that little question mark kind of appearance. In many times in solar flares, you get an S shape configuration going on. That's very usual.
Mhm.
That's all different kind of shapes. That's what makes it
Yeah.
always interesting. It's a wide angle and some granulation. This is what really caught my interest, was that things are always different and always changing. Now,
Right.
this was a fantastic solar prom where you can even see the hotter material up here in the prominence. This is a solar flare going on down here, and it's a bipolar spot. You've got one polarity there, one polarity there, and here. I've got one other photo. Yeah. And here you can see the flare increased in size from the previous picture. So things just never stay the same. Even the hot material changed right here. It's getting very hot, starting to pour back down into. All right, that's all I got right there.
Well, that's amazing. Fine work there, Randy.
Well, thank you, Tim.
Thank you for sharing them. Now,
So
Pam,
that-
do you have a short presentation you want to show us?
Yeah, I sure do. Okay. Oh, there he goes. Okay. I had some other, well, I'll just do my presentation. Or can I do my other?
Whatever you want.
Okay.
It's you're the leader of International Sundays.
I like that. All right, let's do my presentation. All right, I need to go to get out of the way. All right, so need to get this out of the way. Okay, so there is the cover page. So, like I think, like I was saying outside before, I tried to accommodate International Sunday over the years to different dates to accommodate, the weather in Florida or the monsoons over in the other countries, and so I switched it around. But I've just figured the summer. Well, I can't call it the summer solstice because our friends down under, it's not summer for them. So I just call it the June solstice is when I'm going to have International Sunday moving forward. So it doesn't always happen on a Sunday, but it's, I'm going to say, well, this is when the solstice is, but you can have your International Sunday event either a week before, whatever Sunday's most convenient for your club or your whatever you've got planned. So it's not strict. You can post stuff all year long to the International Sunday page, but I'm gonna try to be consistent that it's on the June solstice every year. Oh, gee, that's what I said. So International Sunday, basically, it's a once a year worldwide outreach event to celebrate the sun and the solstice. And it was my idea back in 2014 as a virtual way of bringing us all together around the world to celebrate the sun. And so this year it's on June 20th. So moving forward, it will be on the June solstice date. So the concept is simple. It's nothing very complicated. Any libraries, STEM organizations, planetariums, parks, individuals, you do whatever you want to do as long as it's solar related. This person here had his little scooter and a solar scope in the Netherlands, went around and set up his solar scope. Down here, This was in Mexico. They had thousands of people at their event. So it could be as big or as small as you want. It doesn't even have to be an outreach event. It could be a drawing, a picture, it could be solar images, it could be a song, just anything on that day, plus or minus days, that has to do with the sun. So as I say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Over the years, I've had people from all over the world participating, and it made what I did over the years worthwhile when you see pictures like this and these little children in the Philippines and this mother trying to show her child a solar scope. And Randy knows as well as anybody how hard it is to get adults, much less children, to look through the scope. That's why sometimes we brought our computer so that, we could, it's easier for outreach when you have a lot of people to be looking at the image, the sun on the screen. And you don't realize how many people are really hesitant to look through a solar scope because it goes against everything their mother told them. Don't look at the sun, especially through a telescope. And that's what we tell people too. Don't try this at home. We've got a very expensive hydrogen alpha filter. We're not going to burn your eyes out. So just step up to the eyepiece.
Yeah, when I do solar events for the public, a thing I'll do is I'll take the filter off and I'll blow up a balloon, and I'll just put the balloon for a second in front of the eyepiece, and it pops immediately.
Oh my
And
God.
that usually puts the fear of whoever into them. Please put the filter back on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a good little technique just to make sure they respect the sun.
Yeah. So this was an awesome picture of children in India standing in a long line to view the transit of Mercury across the sun. I mean, they're in bare feet. Look at how long they're waiting is probably hot. I mean, this just gives me goosebumps and pulls at your heartstrings. But, that's why we do what we do, to try to encourage people, or young people, to get involved with astronomy, space, rockets. We had a little girl one time when we were doing outreach, and she's like, she had a NASA t-shirt on, and she's like, I'm going to be an astronaut someday. I'm like, I almost started to cry. I'm like, okay, 10 years from now, I want to see you, 10 years, less than 10 years. I want to see you in space camp. I want to see you on the news going to Mars safely. So here's some more pictures from around the world. I made up certificates, and at one point we had 30 countries all around the globe involved, 250 partner organizations, and over 1,500 individual participants. So, and that's what I say, like this little globe down here, that's the exponential power of the internet and doing things virtually. I mean, like now, virtual is the thing, but back then when I was first starting off in social media, it's like you've got to take advantage of the power of the internet, because if one club has an outreach event and hundreds of people stop by, and then you're handing out pamphlets about astronomy clubs and about solar astronomy and about NASA and anything you can hand out to these people, then they take it back and they take it back to their astronomy club. So I am a firm believer of the power of the internet, social media. So here's some more pictures of people from all over the world. John O'Neill, David Renicky down in Australia. He used to jumpstart my International Sunday event from down in Australia, and then it traveled around the world.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. Down here was when we did it with our Prescott Astronomy Club at the library. So even though we were up at 5,000 feet in up in Prescott Valley, it was really hot up there in June. So one of the Shivaks didn't fare so well. Not mentioning any names, but oh, here's Randy showing people the sun. But you know, look at here. This person has a Mylar white light filter on his telescope, so it doesn't take a lot of expensive
Right.
equipment. Some people have those light buckets that they make, and some people have the those those wooden sun spotter things where it's kind of a projection thing that they can show people the sun. And then if you're at a outreach event where there's kids, you know, you could have them draw what they see, and there's all kinds of activities that they could do. Oh, so here's my husband. So yeah, we've been married for over 48 years. And his images have been published in magazines and featured on Space Weather several times and NASA's Picture of the Day. So Randy has several scopes, and by several, I mean 5, including his 6-inch astrophysics and the 228 millimeter solar scope that he built, affectionately dubbed Leviathan. So you've already seen some of his images, but the next few slides are some of his solar images, and that's mainly why I'm part of the ALPO solar section, because he infused some of his solar knowledge with me after 48 years. Well, even before that in high school, when other girls were going to football games with their boyfriends, I was going to astronomy meetings with mine.
That's a keeper.
Yeah.
Now, Randy, well, as we're talking about the equipment you used, we have a question on YouTube from, let me see, Gregory Shanos. What's the exact name and model of that Bader filter?
That is they call it solar film, and it's 3.8 density solar film.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully
that answers the question.
Does that answer his question?
I hope so.
Okay. So this is the scope we had outside Leviathan. Rand, do you want to tell them the diameter and your focal length and your TZ system and all that? What?
Well, that's a 228 millimeter lens, which is 9 inches, and it's an f9, so it's not a very fast. It is a doublet. It's made by ISCAR, and I use, in conjunction with that, I have an internal, so that's why you can't see it on there. I have an internal Bader DERF energy rejection filter on the inside of that telescope. And then down at the bottom, we have the Bader TZ system, which is either 2, 3, or 4. Most of the time on the Leviathan, I run the TZ3. If I have really good exceptional seeing, I'll put the 4 on there, which will allow me even greater detail there.
Okay, thank you. So,
and then I mate that with a ZWO ASI 174 camera.
And you also use a cooled camera sometimes. What's that number?
Yeah, Yeah, sometimes I have, once again, the ZWO 290. That is a cooled camera.
Right. And neither of those are color
That one.
cameras.
Right. Everything, all my cameras are all black and white. Always been. Because there's absolutely no advantage to using a color camera. And in fact, there's lots of disadvantage to using a color camera because it will lessen your, it will just introduce noise. It'll lessen the detail that you're going to see. Make it any color you want in Photoshop. So capture your detail first and colorize it later.
Yeah. We have another question from YouTube from Jeff Weiss. When would you use a quantum filter? Calcium, sodium, magnesium, or white light filter?
Okay, yes. Those are different types. Mostly the calcium would be good shots around sunspots. You get a lot of magnetic areas around sunspots, and the calcium light is going to show that really nice. As far as the sodium, sodium is going to be a lot like a visual, like a white light. That's the kind, so you're going to see granulation with the sodium filter. And of course, the white light, these here, this is a white light image here. This was taken with the Bader 3.8 density film, solar film.
Great, thank you.
So these are just a few more pictures of his hydrogen alpha images. This is a hydrogen alpha image.
And once again, I like to point out that notice the color. This isn't really the color. Everybody knows hydrogen alpha is red. It's red, 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 red. There's no other color in H alpha. But us human beings, we don't really see that well in red. We need a little bit more towards the green, the yellow end of the spectrum. So when I do my process, I make it a little bit yellow, a little bit red. I don't make it the true way that you see it, because if you do that, and when I first started, I made my images red, and over the years I found that I lost a lot of detail. So I now make them some of the yellow, red, and yellow color.
Yeah, he's got his particular palette that he colorizes his images, and so when we see different people's images on our solar activity group, we can tell without even seeing the name, like, oh, that's so and so, that's so and so. You could tell by their preferred color palette of imaging. Some are bright orange, some are the dirty brown, some are towards the red, some are some creative colors.
I patent that, my patina color.
Now these images are all composites from short videos you've taken, right? And then you stack you stack the images together and process it that way.
I normally run 3,000 images, and I will stack those 3,000, and I would like to get around 25% of those. Normally I get between 5 and 12%. But if I can get, the higher percentage that you can get that are quality, the more aggressive that you can be on your sharpening without it adding spurious effects into your photos.
Artifacts.
Yeah. For example, if you're using 3,000 images, how long? What's the time to do that?
I get 3,000 images in 30 seconds.
Okay. All right.
So I'm usually running about 100 frames a second.
Okay.
My camera will take up to about 164 frames a second, but depending on your exposure, it will affect your frame rate. So I usually end up running at about 100 frames a second.
Okay, great.
And then you only use a certain percentage of those stacked images, right?
Right. I'll look at when I do my first initial processing, there's a part of there that's what they call a quality bar. And I will look at where at least 20 or 15% rise above the 75% line in the quality bar. And I will only process that amount, because there's no sense putting, a bunch of lesser quality photos and further processing the mistakes or the blurriness or everything that's in there. So you want to take your smaller percentage of your highest quality ones. Yeah, here's some of the work here I do.
Amazing.
Yeah, that nice loop prominence. So this page is just a shout out to for people to please join the International Sunday group plan. I know a lot of this year things, as far as being in the public together, was shut down, but I'm telling you all right now to plan for next year, the June solstice. I want to see a bunch of people joining the group. Don't make me come out there. I've already been banned from Facebook a couple of times for doing that. Don't make me come after you. So also, while I'm at plugging things, join the ALPO Youth Program Facebook group, which I am the coordinator of. So there you can please join. There's resources there that you can take back to your astronomy club or Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, anything you want to take back. And
teachers.
And what?
Yeah, teachers in school. This could be a really nice program for the school kids.
Yeah, and a lot of people contribute, and I see when they share things that I post, so it's kind of a two-way street. I share things that I think will be of interest to people for encouraging space, rocket launches, the Artemis program, going to the moon, going to Mars, solar, nighttime astronomy, different programs, different apps. And so I'm just starting. So, it's going to do nothing but grow. But so I just keep adding content, and then people also add content. I got a lot of people on there that I'm really grateful for them adding content to the ALPO Youth Program group on Facebook. So of course, I'm not done yet. This is just the end of my PowerPoint. I've got some other things to show you, but anyways, special thank you to Tim Robertson for making this live broadcast happen. What else? Tim Robertson also does the ALPO Observer Notebook podcast and hosts training. He's also the training coordinator.
Yeah, I'd invite anybody who has not heard our podcast yet, the Observer's Notebook, just cruise on over to iTunes, if that's what you use to listen to podcasts, and just search for in the podcast app, the Observer's Notebook, and it'll take you right there. And if you go to our the ALPO website, there's also a link to listen to all 120 episodes thus far of the podcast. And Pam has been a gracious visitor or guest on the podcast a few times, and it's really good. It's a lot of fun, very enjoyable and educational. So please give the podcast a listen. And if you like it, as with this YouTube channel, please subscribe.
So next I'm going to share just a short video dedicated to Dr. Mike Reynolds, who sadly passed away. So in 2018, Randy and I traveled from Florida up to Jacksonville, Florida, where Dr. Mike organized an International Sunday event in cooperation with the Northeast Florida Astronomical Society at the Museum of Science and History in Jacksonville. Then from there, we went up to North Carolina and did an International Sunday event with our friends, John and Dorothy O'Neill. And then we went up to Washington, D.C. to participate in the astronomy on the mall event. So, we're pretty busy. Things will come alive again, but I just wanted to share this with you, and then I'll go on to talk about a few other things if you're all still with me here.
Yes, we still have people watching live.
Woo woo! So that, people who know Dr. Mike, that would tug at your heartstrings.
Yep.
So if you're all still with me, here's a couple things. I already, in the beginning, told people here's the ALPO website that has all these different solar sections in it. And I encourage people to go there and join. There's awards, there's the quarterly, what's it called? The Strolling Astronomer, the ALPO Journal, which just has tons of great information. So encourage people to go there. Another site, I told people about this, that some might have missed it, but the Postal Service is offering solar stamps. I don't know if any of you, I like to buy stamps. I did the eclipse ones that Fred Espenek, his solar eclipse picture was featured on the Postal Service stamps that, I don't know if you remember, but if you put your thumb on the stamp, it's heat sensitive, so it'll make the moon appear.
Right.
So that was.
I have some of these somewhere in my office. Yes.
I know I have some too, and unfortunately, we had to break into them to send out some bills or something. Like, no,
oh no!
Use my eclipse stamps. Okay, so here's a couple sites that are interesting.
Did you want to be sharing a screen for this, or?
Oh, am I not?
No, you're just on the International Sunday page.
Okay. New share. Let's see. How do I do this?
Well, stop sharing this and then start sharing what you want to share.
How do I stop share? So close that. New share. Oh, okay. Sorry, folks.
No worries.
All right, let me go back real quick. There was the ALPO site. Here's the stamps, U.S. Postal Service, the pictures of the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Some people might be familiar with that. This site, especially if you're a ham operator, the site is called solarham.net, which has a lot of interesting solar data. It's got the different wavelengths of lights that you can click on and find more information. It's got visible sunspot count. It's got the aurora forecast down here. It's got coronal hole designations. It's got the coronal mass ejection tracker.
That's a very good website.
Mhm.
Yeah, Solar Ham.
I thought that was Randy, the solar ham.
He is. There's probably a lot of solar ham, or not solar, ham radio operators out there that are probably already familiar with this site, or they have their own secret squirrel ham places they go to. Here is another site that's very useful to us solar imager people. It's called the Gong site. It has how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I thought it used to have 8, but anyway, it's got 8 different sites all over the world. Australia, India. Can't see that one.
LTD
Chile.
Spain,
Chile.
Saratoga,
Yeah, how do I
South
make these? How do I
America,
make a?
A Big Bear Solar Observatory. Yeah.
Yeah, Big
Bear,
Bear.
California, Manila.
Is that Boulder? So the sites aren't always on they're not always on broadcasting, but down here some information that'll tell you like the last time it was active was two days and 18 hours ago. So this isn't a live picture.
One with the check marks are live.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one with these green check marks are live. So see these are showing the sunspot, or the prominences, and this sunspot.
And that's what we saw earlier through Randy's telescope.
Right. And yeah, we did see it live until the clouds came in down here in Florida. This one's from Chile, and this one's from Big Bear. Oh, see, it just switched. It just, it updates. And I have to say that all these telescopes utilize a Daystar filter, hydrogen alpha filter in
4-inch scope.
4-inch scopes at every of these different locations. So we look at that when we decided we're going out or setting up or not. First, we look outside, see if it's raining or not, or cloudy, because we don't need a weatherman to tell us that. Sometimes they need to go out and see if it's raining or cloudy, because they're totally wrong a lot of time. Poor Randy's used so many weather apps that it's not even funny, and they're all wrong. But anyway, we look at the weather outside, then we go to the Gong site to see which ones are broadcasting and to see what there is to see. Sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, look at those prominences, hurry up and set up. Sometimes there's not too much going on, but the sun is so dynamic that there's always things to see, whether if there's big prominences or not. There's always interesting things to see. Randy likes to challenge himself and do spicules, or this looks like that Philprom up here.
Right.
If I click on this one, it'll make it bigger.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. Is that the Philprom right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a Philprom is kind of a word that's a combination of filament and prominence. That's on the limb of the sun, and it's a really interesting feature to image when you can capture it, especially like when you can see through the filament, through the prominence, when it's going over the edge of the sun. Does this sunspot look like it's flaring a little bit right there, Randall? No? Okay. Anyway, that's the Gong site. So that's what we That's what we utilize. What's another? Oh, that's a gong site. So here is the YouTube channel, the ALPO YouTube channel, YouTube Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers YouTube channel. Another thing I want to promote, maybe last but not least, is, oh, go away, is my ALPO youth program. Oh, how can I make that go away?
Make John go away.
I know. I need to cover him up. Anyway, that's our ALPO site. No, it's the ALPO Youth Program Facebook page. So please go there, contribute. Oh, how can I move? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I needed to move us out of the way. Okay, I need to go back. Oh, John. I showed him our clouds. He was totally clouded out. Anyway, this is the ALPO Youth Program page. I'm all about these space missions, so I'm excited about this Dragon crew. I've got t-shirts, so many t-shirts that I don't need, but we've got a lot of contributors. Here's people contributing, you know, the Chicago astronomer, he's awesome. Cliff Watson, he's down in Australia. He does a lot of contributing. Maynard Pittendrew, I'm sure I'm not saying his name right, but he posted about the Astronomical League's observing program for youth. So that's something that you people can go to my ALPO Youth Program Facebook page and click on that and find out what that's all about, and take it back to your astronomy club. So, oh, and there's Tim Robertson posting about the ALPO YouTube channel. So anyway, like I said, it's the ALPO Youth Program on Facebook page is a joint effort of giving and taking, so we could share to our young people and get them interested in astronomy, space, STEM outreach, reading, art, all of the above.
Great.
And also here's the International Sunday page, which I expect everybody to join. I want to see your schedule for next year of you listing International Sunday on your schedule. And
Do it.
I think that's it.
Great. Well, Randy, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we close this down?
No, I think Pamela did a great job and covered most everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, I want to thank all of our viewers on YouTube for joining us today. Once we shut this down, it will be available to watch at any time on YouTube as well. So, but please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know when we go live, there's a little bell next to the subscribe button. Hit that and you will be notified anytime we upload a new video or go live with any event. And we plan on doing a lot more of these in the future. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, and your